Hi there. My guest this week is a musician, an artist, and a model. Janine, welcome to Sunday Girl.
Thank you.
Firstly, let's talk about your newly released EP. Tell us a little bit about that, the influences and the inspiration behind it.
Sure. I got into music very young because I have to say thank you first of all to my dad, because he's the one who gave me a love of music. So I grew up in a household of music. There was always music playing, and so when I was about 16 years old, I picked up the guitar and I started learning the guitar. I was basically just self-taught, playing around, and I also got into piano a little bit. So I was never formally trained in music, but I always just had an interest in it and a desire to learn and to create. So my friend of mine actually, she introduced me to an app called GarageBand, which is just a little app that you can download on your phone, and you can use it to make music on your phone.
I've seen it on the Mac, yeah.
And then as I was developing, I switched over to another program called Logic, and it's a little bit more professional. And so I had loads of songs that I'd made over the first 3 or 4 years. And so I eventually thought, I should probably start sharing it. So I uploaded it first to SoundCloud and smaller platforms, and I made YouTube music videos, very amateur stuff. And so this year was the first year where I actually thought it would be a good time to properly do it, release it and get it on Spotify, get it on the major music platforms.
I saw that. It's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, and it's on YouTube Music, all three.
That's right, yeah.
So it's very accessible, everyone, and it's called Time and Place.
Yes, so my EP is called Time and Place. It's a 4-track EP, and they're all instrumental, kind of electronic music, almost synthwave, but I basically mix a lot of different genres. And
what genres influence you the most?
I'm really inspired by, I'm into so many different kinds of music, but I grew up listening to rock and classic rock, like Pink Floyd, the Beatles, Queen, all of that.
All of the greats.
All of the greats. And then recently I rediscovered a very famous Greek composer called Vangelis, and he's just amazing, and I absolutely love his music, but I hadn't heard it for many years. I kind of forgot about it, and I got back into it, and his style of music, I would say, has been a great inspiration to me. And I grew up listening to his music when I was very young, but I actually didn't know who he was until recently when I heard his song, and I was like, oh my God, who is this person? Because I love this song, I love this music. So that was great.
And is there more to come?
There is.
Yes.
There is. So
Great.
actually I have loads of songs that are almost finished but not yet finished. So the ones I released on the EP were the more finished ones, and they've been more developed. So that's just the start of everything. But I have about 2 albums worth of music that's ready to be finished and kind of polished and released. So I thought, because I'm always creating new things, I want to actually release it before I create anything else. Otherwise, I'll just keep making and making, and I'll never share it.
Yes, and sometimes you actually have to give birth to projects, don't you?
Exactly.
And it allows you to focus and really kind of say, okay, who is this for? And it's much more professional feel to it when you put it out to the big bad world.
A quote that I love that says, art is never finished, it's only abandoned.
Lovely.
So in a way,
yes,
you have to kind of learn to let go and just let it be what it is. Otherwise, you can keep changing it.
Well, I think a lot of us in the art world as well, we're perfectionists. So we will look at it over and over and over again. And I often think that some of the great works of our time have never been shared because the artist behind it is too frightened almost to release it, to abandon it into the great world.
You're so right. Perfectionism has been one of my greatest challenges as an artist, but also as a model, because as you know, in the modeling industry, it's so much about the external and how you look, and so it can be challenging, but it's good I think modeling has kind of helped me actually to overcome a lot of perfectionism.
Good. Because you're so right, it is very focused on perfectionism.
Because you realize that
the best version of yourself.
Exactly, and people want different things, and you can't be You know, you can't fit the mold of everything.
Was it about a year ago that you and I sat down in the bookshelf here in Tralee, and you walked in the door and I went, yes. Because it's, as an agent, it's so rare to meet a great talent. You know, somebody who comes in and is ready to go, as it were, and is committed and professionally trained.
Thank you.
As you were.
I would say it's more experience than talent, but
no, I think it's both. I think it's both. And when you sat down, immediately I knew that I wanted to work with you. So it's been a pleasure. I think you started working with us the week afterwards. You started doing some outdoor shoots with us, and I know that you've done an awful lot of work, which we'll share here in the last year with us. But I want you to take everybody back in time, because you were born in South Africa and then you moved, am I right saying you moved to Hong Kong?
That's right, yeah.
So you started modelling in South Africa, isn't that right?
I did. So I actually was scouted at a music festival when I was about 15, and I was always a tomboy growing up, so I'd never really was interested in modelling. But my sister was a model, and she did it way before I did, so I would always see her going to jobs, and she eventually convinced me to start with her, and she was saying it would be so much fun, we could do it together.
So much fun, the early starts, the long days.
But anyway, she convinced me, and you know, we actually never did many jobs together. I don't think we worked together once. But anyway, she got me into it, so that was great. And then I moved to Hong Kong when I was 16, and that's kind of when it really started, and I was working and all of that. And obviously the industry there is very different to Ireland. But I must say that meeting you was a huge turning point for me, just in terms of finding my place in Ireland and meeting people.
Yeah, I mean,
So it
I
was
remember
great.
saying to you when we met, if you don't get anything else out of this, and hopefully you will, but you'll get a network.
Absolutely.
Because we have a great kind of family ethos, and I know you've made pals through it. And
Yes, great
so
friends.
important.
Great friends.
Yeah, it's so important.
It's been wonderful.
Yeah, particularly when we're a little bit more isolated when we live in Kerry and we have to travel to work all the time. So you're
Definitely.
constantly moving. Like, it's great to make friends out of it too.
Definitely. And the people here are so nice in Ireland. So
And the modelling industry is different, as you said.
it's so different.
Not as pressurised. Like, I know over the years a number of models that have worked with us have gone to London to work, have gone to New York to work, and they all come back and they all say, oh my gosh, it's so different, Orla. It's almost terrifying.
It is. There's a lot of pressure, and there's a lot more competition, so you have to be on your A game, sort of thing. And I think in Ireland they're just way more laid back and more human.
It's more
in a
friendly,
sense.
yeah.
More friendly.
Yeah, and it's more relatable. Like,
absolutely.
Like what the industry wants here is what people can relate to as well. So it's more relatable in terms of models that do well in the industry here.
Definitely.
Where abroad, I know from going to fashion weeks, like a lot of the models were very, very young, very, very tall, and way too thin. And you know, unfortunately, that seems to, it's changing, but it thankfully is not what we look for in Ireland, and long may that continue. And as I mentioned at the beginning, you're also an artist, and I know I follow you on social media, and that I think was how I became most aware of it, and that you were sharing some of your beautiful work on your social account.
Thank you so much.
And I know when I visited you here today, I see some of your work as well. Tell us all a little bit about you as an artist.
Thank you so much for your compliments.
Oh, your work is beautiful. Like, I'm saying, when is the exhibition? When can we
soon.
buy it? When can we buy it?
Stay tuned. Yeah, so I actually studied fine art, but my major was photography. And I only got into painting, well, I've been painting all my life as a child and growing up kind of just for fun sort of thing. But it was during COVID that I actually started painting regularly and taking it more seriously. And I found it's just a great way to relax and to just take time for yourself and to express yourself. And I'm very much someone who thinks art is more about the process than the outcome.
Okay.
So that's also why I'm actually going to start running some art and wellness classes in Tralee near the end of June, because I want to kind of share my love of art with people, but I also want to share the benefits of art making with people.
And explain there that art is more a process than an outcome. Explain what you mean by that.
So a lot of people, I think, when they think about art or when they think about being creative, they say, oh, I can't draw, or they just immediately assume you're either an artist or you're not. But I don't believe that at all. I think art is for everyone, and it's such a powerful tool for you to express yourself and just to be in the moment. And you don't necessarily have to create something to sell or to show anyone. You could even make something and throw it away. It's just about the actual act of creating something.
That's very interesting, because a lot of people, and me included, I'll always say, oh, I can't actually draw, so why would I go to an art class? But what you're saying is that's actually not important at all.
I think it's a huge misconception in the art world, and people think that art is like, it's for the elite, it's for, you know, a certain group of people, but it's really not. I feel that's such a sad kind of misconception, because it's stopping so many people from exploring that side of themselves. Yeah,
that dimension of themselves. So it's a way of working through perhaps your subconscious
Absolutely.
a little bit.
Absolutely. I found that when I started painting during COVID, I did it to kind of keep busy, and I really found it just gives you so much space to think and to just slow down and be in the moment. And I try not to put any pressure on myself for creating something. I work very spontaneously, actually, and I think it's so freeing. There's so much freedom that comes with it, and I want everyone to be able to do that and to explore that. And so these classes are going to be for adults mostly, and it's an art and wellness class. So people come and there'll be a little guided meditation to get people relaxed and in a creative headspace. And then the structure is pretty free flow, so you can work on whatever you want. You can paint, you can draw, whatever you're attracted to, basically. And there'll be some light background music, very relaxing environment, and you know, we can bring a friend or you can come on your own. So we have a Facebook page and an Instagram page at the moment, and it's called withtheflow.art. So you can follow on Facebook or Instagram.
We'll just share that right here.
And the website's coming soon, so stay tuned for that. And it'll be in Tralee starting probably the week of the 19th of June.
Lovely. And in the evenings, is it?
Probably in the evenings, but depending on who signs up, I usually ask them which times work for them, and then I can kind of arrange a schedule based on what works for everyone. So we have about 16 people interested at the moment.
That's incredible. 16 already signed up.
We'll probably have 2 groups of 8, and it'll be different times. So
that's very exciting.
It's very exciting, yeah.
Well done you. When do you get time to sleep?
I actually have a very relaxing lifestyle, believe it or not. Like,
I mean, you're so busy creating. It's wonderful. It really is.
I don't see that as work. That's fun. That's to me, that's enjoyment.
That's a true artist. It's your soul expressing itself.
Exactly. Yeah.
Janine, it's an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The best of luck with all your future ventures.
Thank you. And there'll be more.
We at Upfront are so delighted to represent you.
Thank you
You're
so
an incredible
much for having
woman.
me.
Thank you so much. And both of us wish everybody out there a really wonderful week.